Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Cowboy Slot Channel. This is Real Talk, episode number 3, season 2. Today is January 21st. A big welcome to everybody, and thank you all so much for joining me here today. If this is your first time on the show, this is an entirely open forum Q&A. You guys can ask any questions that you'd like. I always try to get through as many questions as I possibly can, but in the event that I miss any, because we do get pretty busy on these shows, we do have a chat forum that you guys can use 24/7, 365 on our website, which is right here, ropethejackpot.com. Welcome to all of you here in the chat today. A lot of new members joining, which is wonderful. Really do appreciate those memberships, guys. We do have a special Member Monday show that happens every single Monday, Monday evening. Tomorrow we will be in Wendover, so we'll probably do some kind of stream for the members tomorrow there. So members, just make sure to have your notifications on and be watching for that. I'll still try to get a member Monday show out to you, even though we are there at Wendover. So welcome everybody. We're going to dive right into some questions. Go ahead, start lining up your questions. I'll try to get through as many as I can. Our first question here comes from DPS. DPS asks, would you avoid playing a slot machine that shows on the reels that it just paid out a jackpot? In other words, someone else has hit and collected the jackpot money and then left the machine. This is a good question. It's a really common one. A lot of people say, yeah, you should avoid it. Or some people, especially with pinball or top dollar, think that if you see the symbol that it's due to hit, which is totally not true. You have the exact same chance of hitting a jackpot or hitting anything really every single time that you spin a slot machine. Would I avoid it? No, I wouldn't. It's a big superstition, and this is a part of the reason why many casinos out there they require some kind of a spin-off so that jackpot doesn't sit on the screen, because I know a lot of people are superstitious about it and won't play it. So that's why a lot of casinos will have you spin that off. But would I avoid playing it? No, not at all. Next question here comes from Simon. Simon, welcome to the show. Simon says, good evening. When I go to my local casino, I play the same machines. I haven't had any luck the last 2 trips. Should I start trying different machines or just stay the course? All of them are low in volatility. Well, that's the biggest problem with randomness and slot machines. We all know as gamblers, we're not going to win every single time. Nobody can win every single time. Even on the best machines, even on Cherry's Jubilee, you can't win every single time because it's a slot machine. In cases like this, I kind of, and this is just me personally, I kind of take this opportunity to really start exploring around and maybe try some things that you haven't tried before. If you start getting bored with the games, or if you're just not doing well or something like that, try something else, switch it up. Who knows? You might even find a game that is a new favorite of yours. You never know. That's just what I would do. Just kind of switch it up a little bit. Jim asks, would a magnet affect the ball on a pinball slot machine? No, it would not. For starters, there's no actual ball in the pinball slot machine. It's just a digital display. But this does kind of lead into something interesting that a lot of people don't get to really see, and that is all of the testing that actually goes into these slot machines. So I actually have gotten a chance to see these super secret rooms that are at certain facilities. So there's the manufacturers, and then there's also independent testing labs, and a lot of that, these rooms that they have, they'll actually take machine units into these rooms and they just hammer it with just everything you can imagine, radio signals, different types of interference, just to see what the machine can handle, how it handles it. So those units are 100% built to resist any kind of, whether it be magnet or any kind of NFC or radio frequencies. The machines are built to withstand all of those. So no, it wouldn't affect anything in the game. And Chris, not in Wendover yet, but I will be tomorrow, most likely. If you come to the Nugget around, I would say probably late afternoon, early evening is probably when I'll be on the floor. I will probably be there probably around like 3 p.m. or so local time. That's kind of the plan, but again, nothing really scheduled. So, and I'll be there till Wednesday. And Barry asks, do you know why I can't book a room at the Rose slot zone? They tell me one or both dates aren't available. That I'm not sure. They could be booked. It is a fairly small hotel. I believe there's only less than 100 rooms there, so it's very possible there could be an event or something going on. you can always call, and they can also give you the special rate, because we do have a special rate at the Shoshone Rose Casino just for Cowboy Slots viewers. So you can always call the hotel and let them know, and they can give you that special rate as well. And see, hopefully there's probably something going on that the hotel is sold out. All right, and let's see. Are we getting some static? Let me see if I can't fix that. I know sometimes these. All right, let me know if that fixes it, and see if the static is gone. So let me know if the static is gone. And Casey is Tech is here. That is Ethan. He is our editor for the channel. Welcome, Ethan. Let's hope for some winnings at Windover. Yes, absolutely. All right. And good. Yes. I don't know why this program does that. There's a little option in there that if you click it on and off, it turns. If it goes staticky again, I have to click it on and off. It has nothing to do with the mic or anything. It's this program. $9.99 super sticker from Bobby Earl. Thank you so much, Bobby Earl. We really do appreciate that. Let's see. Tammy says, my first live question, what is appropriate tip for a hand pay? I want to be prepared when I get my first one. This is actually, this is a question that comes up a lot. It really does come up a lot. We've kind of addressed it here and there. Maybe this will be something for a video. Now I can give you the opinion as a player, and I can also give you the opinion as somebody who has been on the other side and worked in the casino industry. So, for starters, one big important thing to realize and really remember is the casino itself, it is not like a restaurant. There is nothing that is required. It's not like a set fixed amount of 10%, 20%, whatever. There's not a requirement. It's not like a restaurant. So that's number one to really keep in mind. The second thing to keep in mind is you can always ask. You can ask them if they keep their own tips or if they have to share their tips. Out of the 4 properties that I've worked for, all of those properties treat tipping entirely different on the internal level. So, and tipping is always a good thing. It's always good karma. I'm definitely not saying don't tip, but there are some properties out there that are pretty shady. I will tell you, one of the properties that I worked at, a lady one time gave a tip of about $3,000. And I think that my paycheck went up by like 25 cents. The reason being is because that specific property that I worked for shared the tips with every single employee. So not just slots, but every single employee. So we're talking environmental services, player rewards, bar staff. So many casinos do it entirely differently. So if you are going to tip, I always ask, me personally, I will always ask, like, hey, how does your tipping system work? Because sometimes it almost, in that particular property that I did work at, I actually, not just me, but a lot of us slot department people were actually telling high rollers that it's actually more of a disservice to them to tip because it really didn't affect our paycheck. It was really sad. But then you go to another property and some of their slot people might keep 100% of it. You just never know. Every single property is different. So I always recommend to ask. Just ask them. Be like, hey, do you get to keep your own tips or do you share it? Some people share it with just the people on shift. Some people share it with the entire department. Some people will share it with departments way outside. The other thing that I'll add this to the tipping and then we'll move on. The other thing to really also keep in mind and consider is that management, including slot management at majority of casinos, I've actually not seen a casino where this is different. Managers are not part of the tipping pool. So, for example, if you are, say, playing at Aria, we'll just use Aria as an example. I don't know what their tipping is like at Aria, but we'll just use Aria as an example. If you're playing in the high limit room and a supervisor or a manager comes to pay you out, then giving them a tip is essentially going in the trash because they cannot accept it. What they will do is they will give it to some other person who did not assist you. So Always do keep that in mind. And again, every single casino is different. And Brooke here is totally correct. Slot attendants have a tip based job. It is. It is absolutely a tip based job. But always ask, because there are some casinos out there that actually rely less on tips. There are casinos that rely more on tips. It doesn't hurt to ask. And it's really not coming from an employee perspective, it's not something that is bothersome to ask. It actually is more kind of appreciated when people do ask. So always ask, because your casino might be different. $5 super chat from Flow State Motto. Thank you so much for that. Really do appreciate it. If hard drives are swapped between two IGT slots, does it change gameplay? Triple stars sounds like Jules and doesn't hit like it did. Um, so it wouldn't really be a hard drive swap. Now there are a lot of games out there. This one I guess is kind of this one is kind of a little bit of a mix here, because there are some games out there that actually do share the same common game chip. So just for example, I'll toss a couple out there. So triple stars, triple butterfly sevens, triple lucky sevens, those three are actually all the exact same game chip. The only thing that's different is the glass and the reels. So it really depends on that one. Most of the times, I mean, you're not swapping really hard drives, but you would be swapping, I mean, chips. It would depend. I mean, there's a lot of variables in there, really. I mean, the stepper based chip, what other things are we changing about it? So really can't answer that one too much in depth, because it really doesn't. I don't have enough details to really go into a full detailed answer on that. But thank you so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. And always, you guys can always continue to ask your questions on our forums, which is ropethejackpot.com. We'll put that up here right now. It is 100% free to use those forums, and there are a lot of knowledgeable people on there. There's people from all over the country and all over the world. So if you have any particular, there's even, different people on there that are experienced with all different kinds of tech stuff. So if you have any in-depth questions, want to add more details, or start a new thread, you can always do that on our website, which is ropethejackpot.com. Rockstock, $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. What is the lowest volatile progressive machine? Also, where'd you get that hat? Well, thank you very much for that. This hat was from Murdoch's. It's a store chain out here in the West, Wyoming, Montana area. That's where I got the hat. As for the lowest volatile progressive machine, honestly, it's going to have to be Cherry's Jubilee. Cherry's Jubilee is going to be the absolute lowest volatile progressive game that you can possibly play. Those games go off constantly. Obviously they are still a slot machine. You can still lose on them, and people do lose on them. But in terms of volatility and your best chances, it's got to be Cherry's Jubilee. The only problem, the only problem with Cherry's Jubilee is that it is only available at MGM Grand in Las Vegas. That's the only issue. If you're looking outside of that, I would say probably Blazing Sevens. They're not twins, but they are sisters. So that's what I would say for that. And thank you very much for the super chat. Really do appreciate it. All right. Design Knob says, is the volatility and RTP the same on land-based casinos and online for the exact same slots? I'm in New Jersey. So this is where the first part of your question, the second part of your question there, when you said you're in New Jersey, changes the whole dynamic. So New Jersey is one of the 6 states that online slots are actually regulated and legal. So in the state of New Jersey, are they going to be the same? Pretty much they are going to be the same, because New Jersey does have specific regulations just for those. Now, if you did not add that New Jersey part on there, then the answer would most likely be no. Most of the things that you are going to find on the internet, online slots, stuff like that, they are not actually slot machines. However, in New Jersey, they do have legal online slots that you can actually play through things like Caesars, MGM. A lot of these actual casinos will have online slots that you can play there in New Jersey. So for your specific situation, the answer would be yes. DPS says, is there any difference as far as odds in the using slot machine handle versus pressing the button, not at all. They both are wired to the exact same thing. Exact same thing. Sue has a good question here. Is Blazing Sevens the same as Sizzling Sevens? For the most part, those games are relatively similar. The math might be slightly different just because obviously one is going to be a Bally game, one is going to be an IGT game. So they're going to have their own individual math and stuff associated with the game. But for the most part, they're about the same. In terms of what the player is going to see, they are going to be about the same. Retired 2019 has a question here. I am new to slot play. Any suggestions on how to get started? So, if you're brand new to slots, the biggest thing is going to be self control. Hands down, it's going to be self control. Um, I say this a lot, and I don't think that it's very easy to watch YouTube, YouTube's especially, and think that it's easy, but you do have to always remember that you know as a content creator and most slot channels out there, we share what you guys want to enjoy. People enjoy seeing the bonus. If we get a bonus, we want to share that with you because it's enjoyable. But it is important for you as the viewer to realize and understand that that is not always the case, and that is not what happens all the time, and it does not happen all the time. The biggest thing is going to be self control. Set your budget, stick to it. The casino's not going anywhere, the slots are not going anywhere. The biggest thing is going to be just being smart about it, taking your time, really looking around, seeing what you're comfortable with. That is going to be the biggest thing. 90% of being successful at slots starts with you and your budget control, how you handle things, how you approach it. That is going to be the biggest key to success. So my first suggestion would be, of course, is going to be your budget control, and then also, you know, being observant. We do have a really good video. I'm going to put this website on the screen for anybody out there that is new or just starting to get into slots or slot play. We have this website here, myslotguide.com. It really breaks down everything from start to finish. There's a bullet pointed list on what you should do, what you should be looking for. It explains the different types of games that are out there because there are different slot games out there. Not all slot machines are created equal. You've got your low volatile, your mid volatile, your high volatile. Well, which one do you pick? So this website really kind of breaks it all down. So I highly recommend it. There's videos on there. There's also videos that back up things that are talked about in the main video, which is how to pick a slot machine. So it's full of wonderful resources. So I would definitely recommend checking out that website if you haven't already. Chris says, is Ainsworth Dollar Streak and Eagle Bucks the same game but with different graphics? Ainsworth does something a little bit different with each of the games that they make. Each of their games, there are some that are similar. Like you've got, let's see, Cougar Cash is kind of similar to Eagle Bucks a little bit, by a little bit, but they change certain things about it. So each of them are going to have their own uniqueness to the games. Um, Dollar Streak, I can't really recall because I haven't played that game in a long time. I've played it before. I think we have a video of it on the channel. I do not like Eagle Bucks, me personally. I call it Eagle Sucks. I mean, I've had some good luck on it, but me personally, Eagle Bucks is not my favorite bonus. But that's one cool thing that Ainsworth does do is they bring uniqueness to each of the games, so they're not so similar. Um, as for the difference, if they're the same but with different graphics, I would say they are probably different in their own unique way. And of course, they have the different graphics. So I hope that helps to answer your question. All right. If the casino removes a machine with a big grand jackpot, what happens with that jackpot? So this is a good question. We actually covered this in a video not too long ago, and we covered it in a short as well. So this is going to be a very jurisdictional based decision. I really encourage you to watch the video that's called the life of a slot machine. What does that entail? Because we really go into a lot of detail about this. There's a couple different options that casinos do have. Not all casinos are going to have the same options. So it is very much based on whatever the rules of that jurisdiction are. But in a nutshell, they can either choose to move the progressive to another machine, or they can, if it's a multi-bank, if there's like 6 machines that share one progressive, they can choose to merge it into another machine, or they can take the money, but they do have to give the money back to the player in some way, shape, or form. So this can be things like a t-shirt, everybody gets a t-shirt on Tuesday or something like that. That money has to be applied towards that. Again, every jurisdiction is different. And KCS Tech put up that video clip there in the comment section. So if you guys want to watch that whole video, I highly encourage that you do. It's actually a really educational and important video. So be sure to check that out. Life of a Slot Machine. Thank you, Ethan, for sharing that. I really do appreciate it. Michael Ruby says, is it true that they will remove a slot machine after a big win? So this one, I'm going to have to say yes or no, because again, it's very situational. There are some. Let's look at Nevada. Let's look at Nevada, for example. So Nevada actually does have a unique law when it comes to progressive machines, that a progressive, you cannot get rid of a progressive just because that progressive has to hit first before you get rid of it. That is how that Nevada's law is written. So in the state of Nevada, they couldn't just get rid of a game that has that progressive. So what they would have to do is they would have to keep the game until the progressive goes. Now, once that progressive goes, they could be like, finally, now we can get rid of it. And then they can axe the game because then they've met their requirement. So yes and no on that. But in a normal casino setting, no, they wouldn't just get rid of it because it plays. Gina says, "Is it true that Ainsworth games with will must hit buy with minimum bet?" Yes, it is true. You do not have to be playing any kind of anything in particular about the game. So, for example, you can bet $1 one line on $1 Ainsworth must hit by progressive, and could you get it? Yes, technically you could get it. Is it going to take a lot longer? Yes, because that progressive meter increases based on your bet amount, what you're betting. So if you're betting $1, it's going to go up very, very fractional of a cent. But if you're betting $25, it might go up like 2 or 3 cents at a time. So if that makes any sense. And Bit Webster says, I live in Alabama where there's only tribal casinos. Have you played bingo slots before? If so, what do you think about them? So yes, I have played bingo slots before. Actually, one of the first facilities that I ever worked at was a Class 2 bingo facility, and I did work in slots on that. So I actually do have experience working with the bingo machines. Really, the thing is it is just a different form of randomness. So on a slot machine, the machine is generating randomness through the random number generator. It's you versus the machine. On Class 2, you're actually playing bingo with a group of people, whether that's casino wide, bank wide, section wide. It really just depends. It's a different form of randomness. The machine in front of you is just a dummy unit that is essentially generating a projection of what is going on the back end with the bingo server. Now, what do I think of it? Well, I actually really like the Class 2 games. You can win a lot more on them than a traditional slot machine. So we can look at WinStar, for example, because WinStar does have Class 2 games, and they are the largest casino in the world. So let's look at that. So you have a 25-cent slot machine and a 25-cent bingo machine. So on the 25-cent slot machine, it's pretty much just set. This is your pay table. This is what you get. You get what you get. But on some of those bingo machines, those you could be betting on a 25-cent machine, and I have seen jackpots happen of like $200,000 plus on those machines, because again, you're playing that back end bingo game. There's other things going on. So I think the potential is there for to be honest, I think the potential is there to win more with less on Class 2 machines and bingo machines. So that's kind of my thought. And Sue, thank you so much for the super chat. Really do appreciate it. $10 from Sue. Thank you very much. And Jeff says, "Thank you again for all you do. Is there a difference in volatility between Double Diamond and the Double Diamond Deluxe? Hard Rock and Atlantic City just got the new cabinets in both the high limit rooms." So good question, Jeff. Really, in terms of volatility, there's not going to be a lot of difference. If anything, the difference is just extremely, extremely minimal on that. Nothing that you, the player, would ever notice. I wouldn't worry about the volatility difference between those two. Play what you enjoy most of. Does the Double Diamond Deluxe feature? Obviously, it has that deluxe feature where it moves the reels up and down. But that's not really considered a bonus. It doesn't really do much for the game, so it's just basically displaying it in a different manner. They're going to be about the same. So thank you very much for that question. All right. And $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Amp de Carolina. Let's see. How does the pinball double gold volatility compared to the Ainsworth Thunder Cash or Mustang Money 2? So you got three way different machines here. So pinball double gold volatility, uh, that one's kind of in a nutshell world of its own. So on paper, technically, the volatility is lower on paper, but you have to bet more. So it feels a lot more volatile because you're spending a lot more on that pinball double gold as compared to regular pinball. So volatility technically lower on the pinball double gold version, but it doesn't feel that way because obviously you're spending a lot more. Now, Thunder Cash and Mustang Money too. So out of all three of those, pinball included, out of all three of those games that you listed, the lowest volatile would have to be Mustang Money 2. Within the Ainsworth family, so we can look at Mustang Money 2 compared to Thunder Cash. Thunder Cash is a lot more on the higher volatile end. So Mustang Money 2, what's going to happen is you're going to get a lot of more frequent bonuses, a lot of re-triggers, stuff like that. But the bonuses are probably going to be on the lower end. That's how Mustang Money 2 plays out. You do get a lot more of those bonuses. You get a lot smaller line hits. Whereas on Thunder Cash, it's a lot more difficult to get the bonus. But when you do get the bonus, if you get a good one, it can be really, really good. Re-triggers are very hard to get on Thunder Cash. I love Thunder Cash. I do. Don't get me wrong. But the re-triggers are very difficult to get on Thunder Cash. So lowest volatile of all of those would be Mustang Money 2. And $10 super sticker from Lisa. Lisa, thank you so much. You guys are really rocking it with the super stickers and super chats tonight. I really do appreciate it. All of the super chats and super stickers do go to help out the channel. So I really do appreciate that. And also, don't forget, we do have swag that is available on our website. It's ropethejackpot.com/shop. So be sure to check that out. I'd really appreciate it. I do leave for Wendover tomorrow, though, so it might be a few days before I get stuff shipped out. And Sue says, I loved watching you play Thunder Cash with the creator Terry. It was pretty interesting. It was really interesting, guys. To sit down with a slot creator and actually be able to play the game in a live setting there with them was really super cool. And Terry was a great guy. Lot of information, and I didn't even know that he was the original creator of Quick Hits until he actually said something. So that was a great episode. He did drop some nuggets of information about those must hit buys. So if you haven't seen that episode, go back and watch it and listen to the interview, because it was a lot of fun to sit there and play that with them. And Lucky Jewel Slots, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Brantley and Ethan, drive safe on your trip to Wendover. We'll look for you on Tuesday when we come to play. I hope to see you there. Thank you very much. Richard says online gambling is illegal in Wisconsin. Yes. So here's one thing about online slots. I know somebody else in here just asked about Idaho. Legitimate, legal. Those are the two key words. Legitimate and legal online slots are only allowed in 6 U.S. states, most of which are on the East Coast. They're only allowed in 6 U.S. states. If you are not in one of those 6 U.S. states, you are not playing a slot machine when you play online. You're either playing a sweepstakes or a game that looks like a slot machine or some dark web website. So be careful. You can look up that list to see. I don't know all of the 6 states right off the top of my head. We have done an episode on this. It was actually a live stream. There was a live stream episode where we talked about the difference between sweepstakes and online and stuff like that. Now, sweepstakes casinos, like your Chumbas and your Lucky Lands, those are legal. Yes, they're legal in the United States. They're not illegal, but they're not slot machines. They even on their own website give McDonald's as an example for how they distribute prizes. This is on the Chumba website. So just always be careful with stuff like that. That's the biggest thing that people get confused is there's so many things out there. And honestly, I really have an issue with this because the general player, the general public, they don't understand and know. And these companies that are out there are so scrupulous, so to say, with how they handle things. So they might, they might come across and say, oh, play it, you know, superluckycasino.com. Well, they'll put the word casino and they'll put the 777 and make it look like slot machines and stuff like that, when in reality it's not. And you can look this up in their fine print. um it's just, it's not something that I recommend. It really is not. Don't put your money on the internet. The only time that I would ever recommend saying that it's okay to play on the internet or play any kind of slots is if you are in one of those 6 states that has it regulated and you're actually playing on something like MGM's designated online slot website, Caesars online slots, places like FanDuel, DraftKings. All of those people have to follow the US regulations and the US laws, and they do a very good job of it. Then it is safe. Um, and again, if you want to play a sweepstakes casino, that is fine, but reading the fine print can be really, really scary. Honestly, guys, it is not anything that you really want to get into. It's not. Again, we did a full special on this a while back. It's in the live stream category, and it was all about that. So head on over there, because it also does say, I did put the list up of the states that it is legal in there. A 9.99 super chat here from KPat BX. Enjoy your trip. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. You guys are rocking it and awesome. Lisa says MGM has online slot play for points and such at their properties. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And Lars put up a list there. So we got New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Michigan, Connecticut, and Delaware. I believe that is actually correct, because all of those, I believe that is the big 6. So thank you very much, Lars, for sharing that. Really do appreciate it. So yes, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Michigan, Connecticut, Delaware. If you're not in one of those states, you're not playing a slot machine when you log on to the internet. So just know that. You're playing something that looks like a slot machine, or you're playing a sweepstakes, but you're not playing an actual slot machine. Oh, this is a good one. This is actually a really good one. Ashley, let's see. What the advantages and disadvantages in the mystery pick on free games? This is a really, I don't think we've been asked this question before. I love when we get new questions like these. So thank you very much for this. So this is what I always say. For starters, the mystery pick is just that. What it's going to do is it's at random. It's going to pick, your reel set, how tall or big or fat or whatever the reels are going to be, and then how many free games you get associated with that. So what I do is I always determine my pick based on where my current budget situation is. So when you are picking those free games, you're picking your volatility. That's what you're doing. Do you want to be less risky and maybe get less of a reward, but more consistency, which would be on the low volatile end? That would be the most amount of free games with the smallest set of reels. Or do you want to be more risky and go for the higher volatile option and have the chance to win something really big? And that would be the one with the really, really big reels and maybe only 3 free spins. What I always do is I always base it on where am I at with my budget. So if let's say if I put money in the machine and I'm doing really well, let's say I'm up, I've been doing good, I've got a lot of extra bankroll that I can spend, I will choose the mystery, or I will choose the higher volatile option, because it's more risky and you have the possibility to get something good. But on the other hand, if I'm not doing so well, let's say maybe I'm down to my last couple spins, or maybe like the whole trip hasn't been going well or something like that, then I would put the choose the lower volatile option. So the lower volatile option would be, just go with the safe bet. The safe bet of the more free spins with the less ways to win. That's what I would do. But very good question. Your advantages are, of course, going to be, yeah, you have the potential to get something good. But of course, that disadvantage is going to be just the fact of, you could get stuck with something really crummy. You could get the worst possible real option with the 3 free games. It could go anyway all across the board. So I would only choose the mystery option if you're doing really, really well and you want to be risky. So good question. Thank you for that. Sue says, when you hit bonus games, is the outcome predetermined? Yes and no. So on free spins, it is not. So anytime there is free spins involved, it is not going to be predetermined. Anytime you have to pick something, then yes, it is going to be predetermined. If you have a game like Top Dollar or Pinball or something like that, where you are having anytime, and Mark actually said this best. If there is an action required of you, the player, to do, whether it's stopping something or taking an offer or not taking an offer or launching a ball or something like that, the outcome of that ball dropping or where the offer is going to go is not yet determined until you hit that button. So every single bonus is going to be very different when it comes to that. Some are predetermined, some are not predetermined. Then we can go a little bit further. I mean, we can go down the rabbit hole with this. If you're playing a bingo game, or if you are playing if you're playing a bingo game, or if you're playing a VLT game or an HHR game, then the spins are predetermined in that case. So, again, there's a lot of variables in that, and we could go down the rabbit hole for a while. But in general, it's going to be very, very game specific on that. All right. Let's see. Lisa on Facebook says, "Love your channel. I'm going to Biloxi at the end of February. Do you have a favorite game at the Palace? Do you have a favorite game? MGM. Let's see. In Biloxi, I've not been to the casino in Biloxi, so unfortunately, I can't give any advice on Biloxi personally from a personal level. There's not really any advice I can give on that, just because I've not been down there. So that I'm not sure. I really can't give an opinion on a casino that I haven't been to. Christy says, we did the cowboy slot method in Vegas on Double Diamond and hit a jackpot. Congratulations. I always love hearing that. Always love hearing that. All right. Nova Scotia says, I just checked in. So sorry if this has been asked already. Those that switch denoms constantly, is there an advantage? So here's the thing about that. Is there I would not really call it an advantage or a disadvantage. You should not be switching denominations because you think it's going to do anything for the machine. The only reason that you should be switching denominations or switching up your bet is based on where your current bankroll is sitting at. I know I had mentioned this earlier, and the same goes true for this, and really everything that you will ever deal with slots, is that when you are playing slots, 90% of it is going to be about budget and bankroll management. That's 90% of your success at slots. So is it going to do anything to the machine? Absolutely not. The machine's not going to, act any different by you switching up your denoms or anything like that. Now, each denomination is programmed separately. It is programmed independently, yes. But even still, then, even within those denominations, every single spin is going to be a random independent event. The only time that you should really be upping or increasing or decreasing your denomination or your bet is going to be with your bankroll. So if you're doing really, really good on a game, like recently, and actually this video will be coming out on Tuesday, we did another $500 budget session. If you get up above the 500, if you're betting $5, you might say, oh, you know what, now I'll up it to 10 and just see, and then play that back down to 500, and then go back to your 5 and then up it again, stuff like that. Budget management, that's going to be really the only thing. All right. Random jackpots. There are those random jackpots that are out there. Ainsworth must hit buys are one of them. They're not the only ones. There are some other games out there that do have mystery prizes, mystery jackpots, just mystery awards. Again, those are all entirely done at random, except the Ainsworth must hit buys. Now, if in order for any progressive or any prize to be considered a must hit buy, it must be specifically and clearly labeled as such. So if you sit down to play a game, sit down to play a progressive, and you're thinking to yourself, I wonder if this is a must hit by progressive. If it does not say the words, and again, slot machines are extremely legal. If there's any attorneys in the chat, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or if you guys out there, if one of you went to law school or have any legal experience or anything like that, then you'll know exactly what I mean. When it comes to the verbiage on slot machines, it has to be very, very clear and very, very concise, and it has to use specific words. So, a for example, on a progressive, it must say must hit by or must win by. It has to say one of those. If it says anything like, maxes out at or caps out at or anything like that, it does not mean it is a must hit by progressive. That just means that is the max that meter can display at any given point in time. So there's a lot that goes into that. But yes, on must hit by progressives, those already have a predetermined point when they're going to go off. The casino does not know when that is. The player does not know when that is. The machine randomly will pick that point after it previously reset from the previous win. So that is one thing to know. And then there are other jackpots out there that are just given away at random that some machines do. All right. Let's see. Carlos says, "Fun fact: watched a video of a guy chase the $10,000 major on Thunder Cash pot, increased $208 before he hit. Did the math: $100 bet is 15 cents. He cycled through over 139,000 to up the pot by $208. That is how they work. That is correct. It takes those progressives grow very, very, very slow. That's why it's important to never chase them. Never chase them. You play them when they're in. Obviously, there's certain phases of those where you'll want to play them, but do not overextend yourself. That's what you don't want to do, is don't overextend yourself. Set yourself a budget, set yourself a limit. Say, you know what? Let's see. This progressive, is it advantageous to chase? Let's see, if it's a must hit by 10,000 and it says 98, then yes, that is a very advantageous moment to chase that progressive. But tell yourself, be like, you know what? I'm going to try for it, but I'm only going to put $200 to it, or I'm only going to put $100 to it. After that, stop and be done, because that thing could go all the way to $9,999. You don't know that. So if you are going to chase, just make sure to set yourself a very hard limit, and don't keep reaching into the pocketbook or anything like that. That's the most important thing about it, because yes, your calculation is pretty spot on with that. All right. SP says, "Love your channel. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate that." On Must Hit by Ainsworth Games, does RNG change when you change the lines played? Same denom. Thanks. So, a lot of people always ask about the lines on the Must Hit by progressives. So, first of all, to directly answer your question, the RNG does not change. There's only one RNG. It's the random number generator. That does not change. Changing your lines, no, that's not going to change anything about it. Not on those games. So that's the short, sweet answer to your question is no. A lot of people like to talk about the lines and stuff like that. And, if you bet 5 line versus 10 line versus 20 line, and really, you know, does it lessen the volatility to play more lines? Yes, because you've got more ways to win, but it also shortens your wins. So you have to keep that in mind as well. So what I mean by that, what I mean, let me elaborate on that a little bit. I'm going to use an example. And again, this is just an example. This is not any kind of accurate information of, you know, exact numbers here. But let's just say on Thunder Cash, if you're playing a 5 line version, if you're playing 5 line and you get 3 sevens, betting $5, that might pay you $10. Okay. Or $15. We'll just say $15. Then if you play a 10 line version, that same hit might pay you $10. Then if you play a 20 line version, that same hit might pay you $5. So there's always going to be give and take with that. Again, that was just an example, so don't quote me on that. But most games are going to be like that. You increase your lines, you decrease how much everything is worth because you're going to be getting more of it. You're going to be getting more frequent hits and stuff like that. So it's really kind of player preference when it comes to lines. It really is 100% player preference. Let's see, is Dancing Drums low or high volatility? It is high in volatility. It is very high. It is very hard to get those top line jackpots, those top hits, those grands, stuff like that. It is possible. And Dancing Drums is a pretty good one. It's possible. You can still get it on the 88-cent bet, but it is very difficult. So it is higher in volatility because it has a lot going on to it. So thank you very much for your question. Let's see. Moody Vibe says, I appreciate your expertise. Would you say you are ahead in slots? Absolutely not. And anybody out there that is a slot player that says that they are ahead at slots is full of it. Absolutely not. But I will say this one thing. I do not go to the casino like everybody else goes to the casino. A lot of people out there, especially, if people with slot channels, they go to the casino very frequently and on a regular basis, weekly or sometimes daily or sometimes, several different trips. I try to limit myself. I go maybe once a month, maybe twice a month. That's it for me. I limit my trips. That is what I do. I'll go on one casino trip. I'll do several different videos and then that is it. I'm calling it. I'm done. I don't stay in the casino. I don't want to stay in the casino and continue to just play and play and play because that is the biggest thing that really gets a lot of people in trouble is if you stay at a casino long enough, if you play long enough, they are going to get their money back. And that is what the casino counts on. The casino counts on you constantly coming back. So for me, no, I do not constantly go to the casino because I'm not about to put myself in that situation. You are going to have winning days. You're going to have losing days. You're going to have days where you do really, really good. But in the end, you are going to come out on the losing end. That is just it. So, no, all in all, not ahead in slots. And it's very difficult to be. It really is. And even the people out there that are that play the most amount of money in slots, they're down. They're absolutely 100% down. Um, if anybody ever tells you that they are 100% ahead in the world of slots, they absolutely are full of it. Red Wolf says, well, maybe this week I am. Hey, you know what? You are going to have times that you're ahead. Trust me, you're going to have times, you might walk in with $1,000 and you might win 10,000. Then yeah, you're ahead. But eventually, if you keep playing long enough and long enough, they're going to get it back. They're going to get it back. Let's see. When a slot machine sits idle, does the memory odds continue to rotate? So I'm assuming we're talking about the RNG here. Yes, slot machines never do. They never go idle. If a slot machine is plugged in and powered on, it is constantly rotating. The RNG is constantly rolling. There's no idle period. It's not like, oh, well, if someone doesn't play it for 5 minutes, then it slows down or the RNG stops or no, it's always running at the same speed. So yes, even though slot machines might appear like, hey, nobody's been playing it for a long time, it's still running. It is absolutely still running. Paul says, I know a guy who hit $500,000 on Wheel of Fortune, and he said he's about even on slots. Yep, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. Let's see. Barbara says, I'm curious, where do these slot channel players get the money? Really, it's a mix. There's a lot of these people have worked very, very hard their entire lives. A lot of these people have very, very good jobs on the side, or they've had money in the past, and now they play, and they're doing it for the entertainment. They want everybody to have fun and enjoy. Everybody's finances are going to be different, so it really is just that. Mark says, I just had a session where I played for 30 minutes and didn't land a bonus. Meanwhile, the person next to me hit the bonus on the same game, different machine 4 times. Just luck on their part. Yes, it is luck. It is luck. You're going to have days like that too. You're going to have times like that too, where, you just win all these bonuses all in a row, but it's not always like that. And even though that person might have hit several different bonuses in a row, eventually it's going to catch back up. So, yeah. Let's see. And thank you so much for all the info. It's really helped me a lot. You were great. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. Pringles Pie Gal. Does casino security take people out back like in the movies? No, but there is a but. Most people do not know this. It is 100% true. Most casinos. When I say most, I'll say this. Out of the 4 properties that I worked for, 2 properties had this. We actually did have a jail cell in the back. We do. Most casinos, especially larger ones, they will have an on-site jail cell. It's a holding cell, but it looks exactly like a jail cell. It really does, because when we were first starting and everything and going through the tour of the casino, we got to see it, and yeah, it looks exactly like a jail cell. Security does have the authorization to hold you back there until police arrive, but they don't do anything crazy or anything like that. It's just a holding cell. Let's see. Roger says, "What happens when the machine is reset by the attendant?" So I'm assuming if you get a jackpot. So all the machine does when the machine locks up for a jackpot, it just locks up in the sense of nobody else can play it until all of the information has been verified. So it's a setting in the machine of, what is the lockup limit. So obviously, like, my machines that I have at home, I have the lockup limit set at like 5,000 or 10,000 on some of them, so that, it doesn't keep locking up. I could set it for $10 if I wanted to, but casinos have it set for 1,200 or 11.99 because that is the taxable threshold. So that's an indication for them to get the paperwork ready, verify to make sure, the machine is saying, the payout matches what's on the screen, everything matches. Okay, we're good to pay this out, and give the paperwork to the player. That is all that lockup is doing. When they turn the key, all it does is just unlock the machine. It does not affect anything with the odds. It does not affect anything with the settings. All it's doing is unlocking so the player can continue to spin and continue to play. That's all that is. All right, let's see here. All right, how's the static now? See, it comes and goes. The static comes and the static comes and goes. So, yeah, let me know if the static is gone now. I don't know why this program loves to do that. It loves to do that. So let me know if all right, perfect. Say it's gone. All I had to do is toggle that little setting. It's just off and on. That's it. Crazy how it does that. Mark says, "Video blackjack. Does a machine have separate number generators for player and dealer?" No, it's just going to have the one. Just going to have the one. Fun fact, and again, I've mentioned this kind of before. Video poker is the best possible game that you can play at the casino if you know I can't talk today. Proper poker strategy. If you know proper poker strategy, video poker is ideally going to be the best game to play at the casino. Let's see. Steve has a question here about Thunder Cash. Can you trigger the bonus on a 10 line Thunder Cash by playing one line? And if so, does the bonus pay on all lines or just the line that you bet? So, first part of the question, yes, you can trigger the bonus, even the scatter. So, even if you play one line on Thunder Cash, if you get the scatter symbols, it will still initiate the bonus. Second part is it will only pay you on that one line that you play. That's it. That's the only thing that it will pay you on. So that's kind of an unfortunate thing. I've had that happen actually before. several times. There have been several times where, I'll put some money into Thunder Cash or something like that, or, maybe Mustang money too, and I might be playing a minimum of $5 bets, and let's say I get down to $2 left in the machine, and I'll go, oh well, I'll just spin off this $2, and I do one line at $2, and it triggers the bonus. It's the most frustrating. It's the most frustrating thing. Let's see, got some super chats, super stickers. Gloria 999 super sticker. Thank you so much for that, Gloria. Really do appreciate it. You guys, again, really can't thank you enough for the super chats and super stickers. They are very helpful to the channel, so appreciate that. And 499 from Peyton. Peyton, thank you so much. Build up method on Cherry's Jubilee. Then $100 denom on double top dollar. You could. You could. I actually have done that before. There have been times where, I'll play like the Cherries Jubilee. I'll play the $1 version, get 1,000. Play the $2 version, get 2,000. Then play the $5 version and play 5,000. And yes, I actually have played $100 pinball after hitting that $5,000 Cherries Jubilee. So, hey, it's definitely a method. You can. I mean, at that point, if you want to spin the bankroll, yeah, absolutely. Have I done it before? Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Let's see. Seattle Susie Q says, I watched some expert video poker players online. Those experts need to be dealt good cards to win, no matter how much of an expert they are. That is true. That is true. But here's the thing. There's a reason why. There's a lot of science that goes into the making of a casino, and one of that is, the casino is always going to have the most of what makes them the most money. That's a very, very easy thing to see. So if you walk into a casino's going to want to know, hey, we want to make the most amount of money possible. How do we make the most amount of money possible? Well, you go into a casino, what do you see? You see a sea of penny machines. You just see hundreds and hundreds, of not thousands of penny machines. And then you see, a lot of quarter machines, and then some dollar machines, and then a couple $5 machines. And then you got this little room in the back. And that's the high limit room. You go back to the high limit room. And then let's say you take 5 casinos in one area, but maybe only one of those 5 has a poker room. Poker is really considered, we actually called it in the casino business a player courtesy, because the casino itself actually does not make a whole lot of money off of the game of poker. It brings in a lot of high rollers, and it brings in a lot of people that want to spend a lot of money, but the hope is that the person that wins during the game of poker is going to spend that elsewhere at the resort. So a lot of the time, casinos, that's why some casinos don't have poker rooms. That's why some casinos don't have bingo halls. Also, there is a metric in the casino. There is a metric in the casino industry too, that basically is money per square foot. How much money can they make per square foot? So when they have large areas like poker rooms and stuff like that, it can bring that metric down. I know I'm going on a totally different rant here, so I'm sorry, Seattle Susie Q. But yeah, when it comes to poker, it is a great game to play, but it is a game of skill, and the casino really does not make that much money off of poker. So, yep, absolutely. You do need to have skill to play poker. Robin says, I remember the day when you can find tons of dime machines. Yes, I do remember that. I remember when you could, they was really kind of started to die. I mean, they came back a little bit. I mean, they're starting to come back more. I mean, 10-cent denoms, stuff like that. But I'm in the late 90s, late 90s, even there's a lot of quarters in the late 90s. Let's see. Let's see here. Trying to catch up on some of these questions, guys. So I do apologize about that. I want to try to make sure that I get as many questions as possible. But again, there's a lot of you, 526 of you watching right now on both YouTube, Facebook, and X. So really do appreciate all of you guys that are tuning in and watching. Again, if you're just now getting here, if I did miss your question by chance, I do apologize for that. They scroll by pretty quick. It's hard to catch them all, but we do have a chat forum that you can use 24/7, 365, and it's of course always 100% free. And that is at ropethejackpot.com/chat. It's a great place to start a thread, especially if you are looking for a particular machine at a particular property, or if you're traveling to another state and you want to know where is the closest casino and what do they have. This is the website to go to, because there is a forum group for every single state, including there's also forum groups for other countries. So we've got Canada, we've got Europe, we've got Australia, all of that. We've got the UK. All of that is there at this website, so you can actually talk to locals in that area and actually see. Riffraff says, when is Jackpot Party going to make a comeback? I remember that game. I do. I actually had that. I actually had a Jackpot Party game back when I was selling slot machines, when I had my own shop. I actually had one. Um, I don't know if it's going to actually make a comeback or not. I really, really don't know about that. Let's see. Carrie or Kari, one of those. Carrie, Kari, hope I say it correctly. Either way. Not sure if this has ever been asked, but I wonder if each denom on a machine has its own program, or is each machine, let's see, not sure if that makes sense. So each denomination is programmed independently and separately. The random number generator aspect is going to be the same. But what changes is the pay table that the random number generator chooses from. So those pay tables are going to be different. Now they can be set up different. Each denomination can be set up different depending on how the casino wants to structure it. Typically speaking, the higher the denomination, the higher the RTP is going to be on that. So the payback percentage is going to be a little bit different. Nothing for you, the player, to really focus on about that. But yes, each denomination, to answer your question, it's programmed separate and independent. EJ Laughs a Lot is in the house, reminding you all to please do like this video. Give this video a thumbs up. Hey, if you're watching on your mobile phone, all you have to do is swipe out of that live chat and hit the thumbs up button, because that'll pop up right there on your phone. So be sure to hit that like button now. Everybody hit the like button. And if you're out there watching and you haven't yet subscribed, be sure to subscribe, especially those of you watching on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, really, really want you to come over and subscribe on YouTube, because that is where all of the full episodes, all the detailed episodes, and the huge library of videos is going to be. So if you're out there watching on Facebook, do me a favor, come over to the YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. It's always free. Let's see. Do you have the casino take out taxes when you hit a jackpot? So this one is something that is very, very, very specific to each individual person. So this is not advice. This is not tax advice or anything like that, because for you and your situation, you need to consult with your licensed tax professional. I'm going to answer this question based on me and my personal situation. The answer is no. I do not have taxes taken out when I hit a jackpot. The reason being is because I hit so many jackpots per year. I just do it all at the end of the year. I give my tax professional all my W2Gs, and I give them my win-loss reports, and they take care of the rest. But every person's situation is different, so always be sure to consult with your licensed tax professional. Let's see. Steve asks, what new games are coming out you're most excited for? There's one game that I am really, really excited for to be coming out. I'm not sure when it is going to be released yet, and because it has not been shown or has not been announced, I cannot tell you about it, but I'm excited for it. Let's see. What's your go-to low volatile slot? Well, in Vegas, it's Cherry's Jubilee, but I think we've nailed that down enough. If I'm not in Vegas, go to low volatile slot. Probably be like a triple stars, triple red hot, something like that. If I was trying to build up, that's what I would do. That's typically my go-to. If I wanted to play a progressive game, would probably be Mustang Money too, because that's pretty low in volatility when compared to other games of its class. Now, it's not compared to all slot machines, it's not very low in volatility, but compared to other games in its class, it's fairly low in volatility. So that one would really depend. It would really depend. Let's see. 4.99 super chat here from Gloria. Gloria, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Guys, all these super chats, super stickers have been wonderful tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you. Gloria asks, the casino closest to us is entirely bingo slot machines. Is there a disadvantage of playing only bingo slot machines? I would not say there's a disadvantage of it. The bingo slot machines are actually pretty good. A lot of people get, scared off of the fact of their bingo or their class 2 based or, anything like that. I have seen people win really good amounts of money on these bingo machines, and they're a lot of fun too. You can get there's a lot of pretty unique bingo games out there, and then you also get some of the same titles. I mean, most of the same titles that we have in the slot world are also available on Class 2 bingo. So disadvantages, I would say no. I would say there's not any disadvantage to it playing those bingo machines. Let's see. LB says I can't seem to find a good machine. The double diamonds, etc. We're not giving out free games. I tried quite a few. You know, it's still a slot machine at the end of the day. That's the biggest thing to keep in mind. Even if you play the best possible game, you're not going to win every time. That's just the fact of it. It's even the best slot players out there, even the people, that are knowledgeable about all of the operations, even myself, when I go into the casino and I'm picking, you know, the best possible machines for the best possible scenario for my budget, I don't win every single time. And that's just one of hey, if you're going to play slots, that's, it's an unfortunate thing that you got to get comfortable with. But really, as long as you stay consistent and you're really focusing on your budget and you're really focusing on, setting stuff aside and picking the machines that are best for your budget, picking, lower volatile games if you're working with smaller budget, stuff like that. As long as you keep with those rules, you're going to lessen your losses. And that's really the most important thing. So sorry you haven't won yet, but hey, maybe next time. 4.99 from Riff Raff. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. Really love what you do for the slot community. Keep up the great work. Question: when will the $1,200 taxable jackpot threshold be raised? Everybody has that question about when is that jackpot limit going to be raised. Here's the thing. My tax professional said it best. The wheels of the government turn very, very slow. That is a government choice. That is IRS and White House choice. They, for the longest time, actually, there was the Slot Act, of course, which keeps getting shot down or put on the back burner, which is to increase that. That has, there's no new information about that yet. It's still stuck in Congress, so there's no new information about it whatsoever. But they were actually at one point even talking about changing that 1,200 to 600 because they want to get more money. So we don't know. We don't know. It's the government. That's the unfortunate thing. It's whatever the IRS wants to do, whatever Congress wants to do at the time, is what's going to happen. So I know the Slot Act has kind of been, put on the back burner for a while. It's been shot down a couple times. Who knows? We just never know. Let's see. Phil asks, have you played at the Vegas of the South Lake Charles, Louisiana, and your favorite casino there? I have not played there. I have not played there, so I'm not sure. Not sure about that. Let's see. Red Out Cowboy says, could you explain why at some of the casinos in Oklahoma there will be a handful of days in a 30-day period where they're paying and the other days it's crickets? Yes, I can explain that. This is 100% not the casino. It's 100% human psychology. And what do I mean by that? As a player, you cannot observe the entire operation of the casino. The casino is a 24/7, 365 operation. Then you take a place like, let's say, WinStar, which is, massive. They've got thousands and thousands of machines. You as the player, are only able to observe what you can see at the time that you're there. You can't see the entire floor. You're not there every single day. You're not there all the time. This was a really common thing that we would see when I worked in the casinos. This was extremely common. So, I would have players that would come up to me and be like, oh, the machines are ice cold. I haven't won. Nobody's winning, but the slot attendant behind me has a stack of W2Gs that they're trying to hurry up and get shuffled and, pay out. So it's like, actually, yeah, we're paying out the exact same amount that we normally pay. You're just not able to see it because you, as one individual, hell, even as a group of individuals, you still can't observe the whole operation of the casino. So a lot of times it's, you know, again, it's one thing that, when somebody is not able to see the whole picture, the natural instinct of what we as humans do is we start making our own assumptions. So it's easy to make that own assumption. If you sit at a bank of slot machines and all of a sudden, you know this person wins and then you win, your natural assumption as a human is going to be, well, something must have changed as the machines because now we're both winning. No, it's the nature of randomness. It's just, that's how it happens. It's the law of large numbers, the law of averages. It's eventually going to happen. One of my favorite things that I like to say, I tell people this a lot, um, on any machine. I say, you know what? I guarantee you 100% that jackpot is going to go. Maybe not to you, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not for 5 years, but eventually it'll go. And that's just the thing. That's just the thing about it. So, yeah, unfortunately, it just, we're not always able to observe everything. So that's kind of the downside of it. All right. You know what? I just looked at the time. We are actually over time. We're at an hour and 11 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead. Hey, I'll take one more question and then we'll go ahead and we'll round out the show today. As a reminder, Member Monday. We always do member shows for our members. It's an additional live stream that you can get as a member. We had quite a few members that joined us here today, so really do appreciate that. If you are interested in becoming a supporting member of the channel, it's 100% optional, but all the information for that is in the video description down below. As for Member Monday tomorrow, I'm going to try to set something up. It might not pop up until last minute, members, so just keep that in mind. It might not be pre-scheduled in advance, but it might pop up last minute. I will try to do something. Try is the key word, obviously, because I will be traveling to Wendover tomorrow, and we are super excited to go to Wendover, guys. The Nugget at Wendover has made a lot of really positive changes. They've done tremendous efforts there at their resort. We're very, very excited to see it, very excited to check it out. So tomorrow we'll be there. Who knows? Maybe for our members, maybe I'll do something additional on the floor. Who knows? Maybe do a small live stream or something like that. So if you're not yet a member and you would like to be, we toss out extra perks for our members, like additional live streams and stuff like that. All of that information is in the description of this video. Stephanie, $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. Was betting 125 a spin, did about 12 and got a bonus, but it only paid 1,500 because the denom shouldn't have been higher. Well, 125 a spin is pretty high, but basically what I'm going to take a wild guess here because that sounds to me like it would have been a pretty high volatile game. So sounds to me like you were playing something like a Dragon Link, a Lightning Link, something like that, a Locket Link, a Piggy Bankin, a Huff and Puff, something like that. Out of 12 spins, I mean, that for those games is pretty average. It could have been less, to be honest. So should it have been higher? Not if you were playing a really high volatile game like that. So it's one of those things to look for. But if you are going to spend 125 plus a spin, I would recommend, I mean, if that's your budget, yeah, you can have fun on those games. But if you're wanting to hit something a little bigger, a little more consistent, I'd maybe try out a pinball or a top dollar. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for joining us on Real Talk episode number 3 here. I really did appreciate it. We had a lot of good questions tonight. Really do appreciate each and every one of you guys. Please do be sure to like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're out there watching and you have not yet subscribed. And as always, our shows are every single Sunday at 7 p.m. Central. Tomorrow there may or may not be a Member Monday show, but I will try to do something for our members tomorrow as I will be in Wendover. Please do check out our website, ropethejackpot.com, for all of your for chatting and all of that. talking to other people in your area or at other casinos. You can do all of that for free at our website, ropethejackpot.com/chat. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for joining me here tonight. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. As always, best of luck to you. Stay safe, and I'll see you again next